It is 3:17 in the morning, and your eyes snap open, just like they do every single night. The ceiling stares back at you, cold, silent, and completely indifferent. The same ceiling you have been staring at for the past 2 years. There is no sound in the house, not even the wind, and yet something inside your chest feels loud, restless, almost desperate. You try to close your eyes again, but your mind is already moving, replaying old worries, old conversations, old fears that have no business being awake at this hour. There is a particular cruelty to this kind of wakefulness. It does not come with urgency or purpose, only with a restless, circling energy that refuses to land anywhere. You think about your heart. Is it beating too fast, or is that just the silence playing tricks on you? You think about your knees, which ached all day yesterday, and whether they will ache just as badly tomorrow. You think about your grandchildren, the ones you promised you would take to the park this weekend, and you wonder quietly if you will have the energy to keep that promise. That thought, that quiet fear of letting them down, hurts more than the sleeplessness itself. So you do what you always do. You give up on sleep, and you get up. You shuffle to the kitchen in the dark, not bothering with the big light, because the big light feels like an accusation at 3 in the morning. You fill a glass with water you do not really want, and you drink it standing at the counter because sitting down feels too much like admitting this is going to last. You stand at the kitchen sink, looking out the window at the neighborhood sleeping peacefully all around you, and you feel something you almost do not want to name. Every house dark, every window still, and you standing here, the only person in the whole street that the night could not hold. You feel left behind by your own life. By the time morning finally comes, you have maybe slept another hour, broken, shallow, and completely unsatisfying. You dress slowly, each movement careful and deliberate, because your body in the morning after a bad night feels like a machine that someone forgot to oil. You make your coffee, the same mug, the same chair, and you sit down and you try very hard to feel like yourself. But yourself, the version of you that had energy and patience and curiosity, feels very far away lately. You used to be the first one up, the one who had the eggs on before anyone else was even dressed, and now the morning itself feels like something you have to survive rather than enjoy. Your daughter calls around 9, cheerful and quick as always, asking how you slept, and you say fine without even thinking about it, because what else do you say? You do not want to worry her, she has enough of her own. You do not want to be the problem, you have never wanted to be anyone's problem. By afternoon, the fatigue sits on your shoulders like something with actual physical weight, a coat made of lead that you simply cannot take off. You try to read, but the words blur and rearrange themselves before you can catch their meaning. You try to watch television, but your mind keeps sliding off the screen and back into nowhere. You feel a low irritability rising in you, a sharpness that is not really you, and feeling it makes you feel ashamed of yourself. You go to bed that night hoping, the way you hope every night, that tonight will be different, and by 3:14 a.m., you already know it is not. The night that finally broke you open was a Tuesday in November. You had woken at 2:48 a.m., and you remember the exact time because you stared at those red numbers for a very long time without moving. Outside, the November rain was tapping against the window with a patience that felt almost mocking. It had somewhere to go. Eventually you did not. And instead of getting up for the first time, you just lay there, and you whispered something into the dark that you had never allowed yourself to say out loud before. You whispered, "I don't know how much longer I can do this." The house did not answer. Houses never do. But something about saying it out loud, about letting it be real, cracked something quietly open inside of you. The next morning, your neighbor Anna, a quiet and careful woman, 71 years old, who had spent 30 years as a nurse, stopped you at the mailbox. She looked at you, really looked at you, the way that people who have spent their lives caring for others learn to truly see. "You're not sleeping," she said, and it was not a question, and it required no answer, and somehow that was exactly what you needed. Something in your chest loosened when she said it, just the simple, enormous relief of being seen by another human being. She told you about cortisol, the stress hormone, and how after 65 the body's entire ability to wind itself down at the end of the day changes in ways that almost no doctor ever takes the time to explain. She explained that your nervous system, after decades of working, worrying, parenting, grieving, and carrying everything a long life requires, has genuinely forgotten how to shift from alert to safe on its own. She said it the way only someone who has held the hands of frightened patients can say it, with a quietness that made you feel protected rather than diagnosed. It is not a character flaw, she told you carefully. It is not weakness, it is biology, and biology can be gently, patiently redirected. That evening, for the first time in 2 years, you tried something different in the 30 minutes before you went to bed. First, you turned off every screen in the house, the television, the telephone, the tablet, and you sat for a moment in the unfamiliar quiet. The quiet felt strange at first, almost uncomfortable, because you had been filling it with screens and noise for so long that you had forgotten what it actually sounded like. Then you wrote 3 things, only 3, that had gone well that day, however small or ordinary they may have been. Then you made the tea, chamomile and magnesium, warm and unhurried, watching the steam rise in the lamplight. And then, the part Anna had been most specific and most serious about, you sat in your chair, closed your eyes, and for 5 uninterrupted minutes, you simply breathed, not thinking ahead, not reviewing the day, not planning tomorrow, just breathing, in for 4 slow counts, hold for 4, and out for 6. With every exhale, something in your shoulders dropped a fraction lower, and for the first time in a very long time, your body was not bracing for anything. That first night, you did not sleep perfectly, and Anna had gently warned you about that too, so you were not disappointed. But you woke at 4:30 instead of 2:48, and that hour and 42 extra minutes of sleep felt like an unexpected and remarkable gift. The second night, you slept until 5:10, and you lay there afterward, blinking slowly, hardly able to believe it. You did the ritual again that evening, and the evening after that, with the careful devotion of someone who has found something precious and does not intend to drop it. By the end of the first week, something had shifted, and the shift was not only in your sleep, but in the entire texture and color of your days. The heaviness was still present, but it was lighter, as if someone had quietly removed a few of the heaviest stones without your noticing. The irritability was slowly fading, and in its place, something older and better was returning. You started, quietly and tentatively, to remember what it had once felt like to look forward to things. 3 weeks into the ritual, you slept for 7 hours, straight through, uninterrupted, deeply, completely, and when you woke, you lay perfectly still for a long moment, just to make sure it was real. The ceiling was the same ceiling it had always been, but this morning it looked entirely, completely, miraculously different. That Saturday morning, the Saturday you had almost cancelled twice in your mind, you took your grandchildren to the park. You did not sit on the bench and watch this time. You walked the whole path with them, all the way around, without stopping once. Your granddaughter, the 7-year-old with the bright red coat, reached up and took your hand somewhere near the old oak tree in the middle of the park. And she looked up at you with those completely honest eyes that children have, and she said, "Grandpa, you seem happy today." You looked down at her small hand inside your old one, and you felt something rise in your chest that you had spent 2 long years forgetting the name of. You felt whole, not fixed, not young again, not without the aches or the worries or the quiet accumulated weight of a long and real and fully lived life, but whole and present, and rested, and here, standing in this exact light, in this exact park, holding this exact small hand, with nowhere else in the world you need to be. And if you are lying awake right now at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or any cold and quiet hour the dark has handed back to you, I want you to hear this. This is not the rest of your life. This is only where you happen to be standing right now. The door back to sleep, back to mornings that feel like mornings, back to days you can actually inhabit, is much closer than you think. All it takes is one small evening, 30 quiet minutes, and the willingness to believe that rest is still something your body knows how to find.